Greetings and welcome to episode 5 of State of the Build here on the Peak Auto YouTube channel. I am Emily Reeves, your host, and we've got a special episode coming at you. We've got our friend Dan from the YouTube channel, Do It With Dan, and he's going to talk about his 73 Camaro, which I'm really stoked to hear the story on. Let's check in with him. Dan, what's going on, dude? I'm so stoked to hear the story on the Camaro. All that I know about it is it's a 73 Camaro that you're currently doing an LS swap on. But I don't know the history on it, and I'm really excited to hear about what this car means to you. How long have you had it? Why were you inspired to get it? Fill us in.
Hey Emily, thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate you reaching out to me and asking me to be a part of this. Yeah, this is my 73 Camaro that you're talking about, doing the LS swap on it. As far as what this car means to me, ever since I was a kid, I've always had this soft spot in my heart and in my head for a 70 to 73 second gen Camaro, specifically with the non-RS, the non-4 headlights. You know, you got the primaries and you got the side marker headlights. It's just something about them have always stuck to me. I know a lot of people think they're ugly, which is awesome because that means they stay cheaper parts for me. But yeah, I started doing this a little bit before SEMA, and then I put it away because I got overwhelmed with other projects that I just won't complete anytime soon. Just ever since I was a kid, it's always been my car, the car that I've always wanted, and I found myself in a position last year to be able to own this one. And then I went out and I spent way too much money on it, and I ripped it apart, and now I'm finally back in the works of finishing it.
Man, that's rad. You've got your dream car. Too cool. So you said you spent a lot of money on it, then it had to have been a complete car running and driving situation, and you ruined it by yanking the motor out, and now you're doing an LS swap? Yeah?
Yep, it was totally a running and driving car when I got it. Numbers matching engine and transmission, the works. I spent way too much money on it just for me to pull it out and put this guy in here, which is a just small block LS1, 5.7 liter, good old LS1. And the goal with that is probably sub 500 horsepower, naturally aspirated, which shouldn't be too hard, cam, ported head, stuff like that. And for the past couple of days, I've been basically stripping the firewall on this thing, getting it ready for paint is kind of what I'm trying to do. And obviously I got to come under here and start cutting out some of the floor pans because part of buying all these old cars is that they have rust, and this one's got some rusty floor pans.
I figured that you tore down a perfectly good car. And numbers matching, dude, you're crazy. Oh my gosh. But I don't blame you. Even our Japanese car has an LS in it. We're terrible. LS swaps are just too good. The original setup I had on Roxy, my GTO, was just 460 to the tire bolt-ons, just a great drivable setup. It's in a boosted variant setup now, which is still really good and drivable, and I'm obsessed with boost, and it's hard not to continue to mod them and go crazy, but that's the sickness that we have, right? And it's fun. So my next question would be, have you done floor pans in a car like this before? Is this a new chapter for you in your repertoire of wrenching and car building?
I think that LS swaps are a total sickness, and I'm affected by it because this is my little workshop truck that I plan on putting a LS into it eventually. I can't help it. It's a sickness. You're right. Something about a single cam Chevrolet V8. It just makes tons of power. They're cheap, they're reliable, and they're easy to find. It's the best part about them. And to answer your question about have I ever done floor pans, I have on this car before. I cut out the OEM floor pans because they were rusty as hell. And then I welded in new OEM replacement ones, and then immediately cut those out again because now you can see it's a gutted chassis on rollers because of who I am as a person. That being said, I'll be making custom floor pans for this thing too whenever I get back to working around it. Just part of being overwhelmed by a million projects.
I saw whenever you got your shop truck and you're like, I'm not gonna mod this, and that is the kiss of death. You know this. It's you can't stop, and next we know it's getting wheels and it'll get suspension soon, I'm sure. Are you gonna do suspension on the Camaro? Do you have any plans of pro touring it out and making it handle really, really amazing? Or is it just gonna be a simple driver?
Yeah, that's exactly how it starts. First thing you're I'm gonna keep a stock, and then all of a sudden you bought new wheels for it and a new grill and headlights. Oh, look at that. And then you've got window tint. Maybe you need a new subwoofer and a speaker system. Yeah, that's exactly how it starts. But I'm glad that you asked about the suspension, because now I get to shamelessly plug one of my favorite companies in the entire world, Detroit Speed. They've been absolutely awesome to work with. They actually sent me out like a full pro touring setup for the 73. So coilover conversion in the front, and wide tub or mini tub kit for the rear, along with their pro touring suspension in the rear, which is like a performance leaf spring, which is really crazy to say, like a performance leaf spring. But yeah, it just moves the whole suspension in a little bit, allows me to tub it out so I can run some super fat wide tires in the rear, and it'll drive really fun.
Detroit Speed makes some sick stuff. I'm excited to see that come together. I'm so glad to hear that you're modding the suspension, because really, suspension work is so fulfilling when you do the work and then you go drive your car after having it stock, and then it actually handles and grips the road and, you know, turning and under acceleration. Just game changer. This car's gonna be so neat, and you're never gonna sell it, right? Because it's your dream car. Don't be one of those guys that's like, oh, I had my dream car and I sold it. Don't do that. And the shop truck's so sweet too, but honestly, it needs more lows. It needs to go lower. That's just me though. Okay, so we've covered suspension and powertrain. What else are you doing to the car aside from those two things?
You know, honestly, I think a lot of people, their favorite part about their cars, other than the aesthetic of them, is the powertrain, right? Like, everyone always wants their car to go fast, and who doesn't? I do too. But that's not the part that I'm looking forward to the most on this car. I'm really excited to, once I get the interior stripped out, I can start building my own. I can build my own custom dashboard. I can build my own custom center console. I'm having custom seats made. I'll be able to customize. I'll be able to build my own floors. I mean, just everything about that is super intriguing to me. I love the idea of taking an old car, keeping it aesthetically to the same on the outside, maybe modernizing it a little bit with some wheels and tires, and then customizing the interior to make it look like a brand new car on the inside. Updated radios, dashboards, displays. That's my favorite part about a resto mod or restoration of a car, is turning it into a modern interior car. I'll be ripping out all of the interior here very soon and building like I said, my own custom dashboard. And I've got a couple of things that I'm really thinking about that I think are going to be cool little accent pieces. I think one of the things I'd like to do is do a Nixie tube clock as like the car's clock. And that'll just work really well with the interior, custom suede and carbon fiber, everything. It's going to be a masterpiece on the interior. It's going to look and feel like a brand new car, and it's going to handle and drive like a brand new car too. You know, I want a 1973 Camaro that I built in the year 2021, not 2020.
You're like, not 2020. I got that. It was good. Dude, 2020 is almost over. We're only a couple months away. Man, I can't believe it. Well, that is gonna be so gorgeous, that interior that you're talking about. I love carbon fiber, and anytime you can incorporate carbon fiber in something, it's gonna be beautiful. Well, that's gonna be really cool to see that interior come together. I personally will be keeping tabs on you on Instagram and on YouTube. I will be sure and link his YouTube channel down in the description for you guys to be able to follow him, although you probably already do because he's got like 1 million subscribers. If you're not there though, go ahead, click the link in the description, and also follow him on Instagram. Big thanks for you joining us, Dan.
Thank you so much, Emily, for having me on. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, Peak, for having me out here too. Shout out to you guys. Much appreciated. Thanks for also checking up on my builds. They're all going terrible, and they will all continue to go terrible until one of them is done eventually. But until then, thanks for watching and following along, and thanks for having me on the show.
I have a really good time filming this. Even though I can't go visit my friends in their shop, sending videos back and forth is the second best option. Really appreciate y'all watching, giving it a thumbs up and commenting, and of course, drop us a subscription. Hope everyone is staying safe and happy. We'll see y'all on the next episode.